we got an email and he wrote, "My power is now on. I cannot begin to thank you enough. To me, this isn't just about electricity. It is the beginning of a new home and a new future to help other veterans. Believe me when I say that I will never forget how much help you made and the difference that it made." I'm going to tell you, we spent less than $300 to help that veteran. But you know what? This veteran is 100% service-connected disabled, and he attempted suicide with a firearm in May. $300 can make the world of difference to those people who are suffering tonight, who served over and over and over again for our freedoms.
Some of the main themes when I look back at my life with Chris really would just boil down to me understanding the heart of a warrior in a way that I never would have had I not known him. And the lessons that I've learned through trials and tribulations, my faith is so much deeper. And I've learned the power in our day-to-day lives. And so I'll share some of that with you. And most of you do know the story of my husband. You know that he was Chris Kyle, American sniper, well known for being the most lethal sniper in United States history. But if you really knew Chris, you know that he would have preferred to have been known for the number of lives he saved. Life unfold, how brilliant he was in not having fear, and how great it was that he enjoyed his life. That man lived so much in his 38 years. He did everything he loved to do, and then some. He had a laugh that would fill up a room. Bent over laughing. I remember with our kids, there probably weren't more than a handful of days that they weren't laughing hysterically at something. He was passionate, and he was humble. He was the guy in the back of all of the pictures with the sunglasses on and a baseball hat who never wanted attention. And then one day, when his military service started to get more and more well known, people started talking about how he should write a book. And he said, absolutely not. No way. And then more people started saying, dude, I think you should write a book because I think there are some people writing one about you. And he kind of took a pause and was like, oh, he didn't like that idea. And then it started to get to the point where people would call and say, dude, there's guys writing a story about you. Like, they're literally 4 and 5 chapters in. And so Chris decided that he didn't want somebody else to make him sound bigger than he was, or bigger than life, and that if he wrote the book himself, he could give away the proceeds, and he could tell the story of the guys that he served with and make sure they got the credit that they deserved. And so that's what we did. We started to write American Sniper, and I remember him coming out within the first few hours of talking to Jim DeFelice, who co-wrote the book, and he was throwing his flaws on the table. He had no shame, which is part of what I loved about him. And I sat there and thought, okay, we're doing this. Because I know that I will be stronger. I know that I've survived my worst day. And I know that when I had my worst day, my worst nightmare come true, that I thought of the widows that had gone before me. I know we have the Gold Star widows. I love you all for standing up for them. I got to meet them earlier, and they are incredible human beings. And they went before me. I went not to these ladies' funerals. If I knew them, or husband's funerals, I would have gone to them. But our friends, when they died, I went to their husbands' funerals. I watched these widows go before me. I watched their world crumble, and I watched them get up the next day. I cried with them. I cried for them. But mostly, I saw that they survived. Chris and I would talk about it and marvel at the idea that their world was destroyed, devastated, turned upside down. And we were still going to the supermarket on the way home. But they survived. So when the police came to my door, they didn't tell me right away. We didn't know, we just knew that Chris had been shot. And then after a while, we learned that he had died. I knew in the moment that they told me that I would survive. It's those little acts of kindness that are just a beacon of light. When I look at an organization like Homefront Cares, I'm honored to be here. Some of the people on the board thank me for coming, and I want to tell you I'm grateful to be here because it gives me hope and it inspires me that there are that many patriotic people out there who care. When we do stuff, we have the Chris Kyle Frog Foundation, we work on marriages and things like that, and one of the biggest blessings has been to see these people. They're so strong and they're so amazing, and they're going through a little bit of a hard time, or maybe they're just dogging it out and we want to bless them with something. And they're brought to tears because they can't believe so many people cared. And I want to just sort of reiterate, I think where I was going was just that the legacy that we leave can be fairly simple and yet so powerful. And it's really just about being there for one another. I sometimes think of life as hazing and the fraternity is heaven. And I think of like all of us on earth right now are this big pledge class, and we're going to get hazed like crazy. But if at the end of the road we still want in that fraternity, we're in. Yeah. So anything you can do to help your fellows in your pledge class, I think it's important, and I'm really happy to see what Homefront Cares is doing for veterans. I love hearing the story about Teddy and his family, and I know that I'll kind of leave you with this thought, and I don't want to end on a morbid note, but it's something that strikes me all the time, and that is that there are 22 veteran suicides in this country every single day. That's striking in and of itself. But what I find extraordinarily powerful is that over 80% of those 22, over 80% of those 22 are Vietnam veterans. So if that doesn't tell you what having a country that is not grateful can do to a person's soul, I don't know what does. But I'm committed to making sure that that never happens again, and that this generation and